The content of this program represents the opinions, research, and observation of the host and his assessment of scientific evidence available at this time. None of the statements, claims, techniques, dietary guidelines, or supplements mentioned in this program have been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The information contained herein is for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for standard care provided by medical practitioners. Any application of the advice presented here is at the listener's own discretion or risk. The information should not be used for self-diagnosis or application. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before beginning any new nutritional, exercise, or lifestyle improvement program. The host and this station disclaim any responsibility for any adverse effects arising from the use or application of information contained in this program. Now broadcasting from his nutritional command center deep in the heart of Victoria, Texas, charging through the swamp of misconceptions, deception, and myths, bringing to you the newest cutting-edge scientific-based nutrition information so you can enjoy whole spectrum health. Here's the paladin of nutrition and whole foods expert, Labron Allen.
Good morning. It's Saturday. I'm your host, Labron Allen, and this is Health Alert. Well, this morning I have some incredible health news and actually an expose. I will be getting to the expose in just a few moments. And before I get to that, keep in mind that at the very beginning of this program, I told you, the listening audience, that one of the things that the idea of this program was for was to help you learn who was actually against your health freedoms and against your ability to truly become optimally healthy. And this expose that I will be relating to you is actually from an article that was recently published in the British Medical Journal concerning a charitable organization that I have no doubt you are extremely familiar with, may have donated for, and done other things related to this particular charity. And I think that you are going to perhaps be surprised, angry, but I hope that overall it will help you to begin looking at everything as far as it comes to your health with a skeptical eye, and really look into things before you choose to either put your money into it or use it for your health care. So we'll be getting to that in just a few moments. But first, more information about soda. So several times we've talked about soda and the dangers of these soda pops or soda beverages, including fruit juices. But now a leading biologist is, to quote him actually, says that these sodas, frankly, are evil. Now, why would he say that? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. That was pretty much the entire conclusion that he came to after looking over a considerable amount of information and research being done on these soft drinks. What he is finding is that even moderate consumption, now you know the old cliche, frankly it's one that I don't agree with whatsoever, but it goes something to the effect of everything in moderation, right? Doesn't everyone quote that constantly? Well, that cliche is incredibly wrong. With some things, there is no amount. That is moderation. None is moderation for some things. What do those things include? Well, obviously murder. Obviously, no one would agree that murder in moderation is okay, although some governments might agree with that. But nonetheless, no reasonable, sane individual would say that murder in moderation is okay. So that goes to show that some things are not okay, even in moderation. That none is okay. What are the things? Well, what about foods that are known to destroy your health and cause disease? Now, do you truly think that eating those poisonous substances in quote-unquote moderation is okay? That is completely ridiculous if not bordering on insane. So, going back to the article on soda beverages, that they're finding that even moderate consumption, and their definition, by the way, moderate is really relative, isn't it? Moderate consumption, which by their definition is a can of soda a day, or even just 2 a week, has been found to alter metabolism so that a person just, in effect, piles on the weight. Also, these drinks have absolutely, irrefutably been found to increase the risk of heart disease, liver failure, and hypertension, which is elevated blood pressure. And specifically in children, these drinks have been linked to addict-like cravings, like a drug addict, guys. Addict-like cravings, as well as being able to change these children's ability to actually taste. It twists their taste buds so that these children's appetites now no longer are for foods that are healthful, but they start having a craving, an addict-like craving for junk foods, particularly high sugar, high junk salt content foods. So specifically, there's research out of the Bangor University, and the research was then published in the European Journal of Nutrition, reported that soft drinks actually, as I said earlier, alter metabolism so that our muscles use the sugar for energy instead of burning what the body prefers, which is, I'll give you one guess, if it's not sugar, it must be fat. That's actually the body's preference, is to burn fat. So what they are finding is that these soft drinks are actually forcing the muscles to burn sugar instead of fat, which is preferential. So the way that it does this, the way that it alters the metabolism, is that as a person drinks these beverages, it actually causes genetic expressions. Let me repeat that. It causes genetic expressions. What you choose to drink. Science is finding that consuming these soda drinks, soda beverages, are causing genetic expressions that alter the way the muscles act. And it is perhaps permanently altering your muscles' behavior. And that is the quote-unquote moderate consumption of soft drinks. So not only does this cause the incredible increase in weight, but the entire body's metabolism becomes much less efficient, and it cannot even cope correctly with normal rises in blood sugar, which leads to a much increased risk of diabetes type 2. It goes on. A study in this past March warned that men who drink a standard 12-ounce can of sugar-sweetened beverages every day have a 20% higher risk of heart disease compared with men who don't drink any sugar-sweetened drinks. And you will remember that we actually went over that study together on this program. That was a study that was published in the journal Circulation, which is the American Heart Association's journal. It was a 22-year study on 42,000 men, so a fairly large study. What they looked for is that the blood test found soft drink fans had a much higher level of harmful inflammation in their blood vessels and lower levels of the quote-unquote good cholesterol, which is also known as HDL cholesterol. So their C-reactive protein levels were higher in the men who drank these soft drinks. Now, they are also finding that it increases the risk. The amount of sugar in these beverages increases dramatically the risk of pancreatic cancer. And this is from the Journal of Cancer Epidemiology, Biomarkers and Prevention. So again, we have heart disease, pancreatic cancer, changes in the way our muscles burn fuel. But that's not it. It goes on. People who drink 2 cans of these soft drinks a day were 5 times more likely to develop fatty liver disease, which, by the way, is a precursor for liver cancer, cirrhosis of the liver. And you remember on this program how we talked about just having a large amount of carbohydrates in the diet, large being defined as more than your body needs, is the leading cause of non-alcoholic associated fatty liver disease. But it goes on. More research into soft drinks. The Journal of Hepatology, so dealing with the liver, biliary system. This article warned that high levels of fructose, fruit sugar in the drinks, can overwhelm the liver, leading to the accumulation of fat. That's how it leads to fatty liver disease. Also, the fructose in fruit juices. Fructose, fruit juices. So fruit juices are not healthy, guys. Just keep that in mind as well. Can lead directly to the accumulation of fat in the liver as well. Now, there's even more disturbing information, however, about soft drinks, especially as it pertains to children. This is from the University College of London's Health Behaviour Research Centre. They discovered a particular effect that these soft drinks had on children. The study involved 346 children aged 11, found that drinking soft drinks makes them want to drink more often, even when they are not thirsty. And that drinking these soft drinks altered their taste preferences for more sugary drinks than children who drank water or fruit juice alone. The researchers in this particular article actually expressed quite a bit of concern because they really felt that drinking these soft drinks for the youngsters actually permanently altered the children's food habits for life. Now, think about that. That's both scary and pretty obvious that it's lucrative for these food poisonous product manufacturers. They even found with the same study that these children who drank the sugary drinks would actually avoid eating raw veggies such as carrots, red peppers, and they went for and would only consume foods high in calories such as potato chips. Wow, that's incredible. Now, we're hearing a lot in the news recently of different massacres, shooting massacres that have gone on. The first one in Aurora, Colorado. The next one in, I believe it was Missouri, with the Sikh temple. And there's a lot of talk about gun control legislation because they're so dangerous. These tools are dangerous. They just go out and kill people. The tools themselves, not the people behind them. But I want to put this perspective as far as our health care and how it relates to, of all things, gun control. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, this is using the U.S. government's own statistics, in part the CDC and the FDA. Now, you'll remember a while back, I went over the FDA's own statistics on their website about how approved, properly prescribed prescriptions kill thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans every year. So, According to these government statistics, did you know that you are 6,200, so 6,200% more likely to be killed by your medical doctor than a homicidal gun-wielding shooter? Let me repeat that. You are 6,200% more likely to be killed by your medical doctor than a homicidal gun-wielding shooter. To really put it in perspective, in order for these mass shootings that have recently been hyped in the news, you would actually have to see a Colorado Batman movie massacre-like shooting take place every hour of every day, 365 days a year, to even get near the level of how many prescription drugs kill Americans every single day. Let me put it a different way. FDA-approved prescription drugs, statistically, by the FDA's own data, properly approved medications kill 290 American citizens every single day. So that means that you would have to have a Batman massacre-like shooting every hour, every day, 24/7, 365. Or you would have to see a jumbo jetliner with its hundreds and hundreds of passengers crash into the ground every single day to even get to the same levels. Now, do you think that if jumbo jetliners, you had one every single day start just falling out of the sky and killing, 200, 300 people, that they would start looking at it? Well, I guarantee to you that they would. And they would really begin investigating as to what in the world was going on with these airlines. However, the same amount of people die every single day from FDA, government-approved medications, and there's not even a whisper. So that really puts these things into perspective, doesn't it? Okay, well, I promised to get to an expose. Now, the information for this expose, in a large part, came from, as I said earlier, a recently published British medical journal. The researchers, their names were Stephen Woloshin and Lisa Schwartz. They are directors of the Center for Medicine and the Media at Dartmouth Medical School in Hanover, New Hampshire. Okay, so these are not nobodies, guys. Now, what is this? Basically, what they said in this article is that Komen for the cure have been caught in mammography propaganda fraud. So let me repeat that. According to these researchers and their article, which you can look up, recently published in the British Medical Journal, they claim that the Komen for the cure have been caught in mammography propaganda fraud. Now, specifically, they accuse Komen of lying in its promotional propaganda for the 2011 Breast Cancer Awareness Month. What Komen for the Cure did was that in their advertising, they falsely claimed that the 5-year survival rate when breast cancer is caught early is 98%, while only 23% when not caught early. So this is totally deceptive. It's how the Komen tricks women into getting more mammograms, which actually have irrefutably been shown to cause, let me repeat that, irrefutably been shown to cause, mammograms have been shown to cause breast cancer through ionizing radiation. According to the study authors, Woloshin and Schwartz, Komen willfully ignored a growing and increasingly accepted body of evidence showing that although screening may reduce a woman's chance of dying from breast cancer by a small amount, it also causes major harms, such as promoting breast cancer because of the ionizing radiation. Now, this is supposed to be a non-profit charitable organization in search for the breast cancer cure. But in reality, what these researchers have found is that Komen for the Cure is completely in the business of fear-mongering. What they're trying to do is they want everyone completely scared out of their wits that breast cancer is going to strike down all the women that surround them in their life. And in order to deal with that, you have to do a couple of things. One, give more money to Komen for the Cure, and two, get a mammogram. Now, what do the research and the statistics actually find? Now remember, just to refresh your memory, Komen for the Cure last year said that the survival rate when breast cancer is caught early is 98%, while only 23% when not caught early. And they basically give you the idea that every woman around you is going to die of breast cancer if they don't get mammograms and have this cancer caught early. So, here's the stats. In reality, the actual 10-year risk of a 50-year-old woman dying of breast cancer is only about 0.5%. 0.5%. Specifically, it is 0.53. That is hugely significant. Let me repeat that. The actual 10-year risk of a 50-year-old woman dying of breast cancer is about 0.5%. Now, what is the stat with mammograms being used to detect the breast cancer tumors? Well, here it is. With mammograms used to detect breast cancer tumors, that 10-year risk of dying from breast cancer moves downward to 0.46. That is 0.7%. That is 0.7. Actually, hundreds. 0.07%. Goodness. Need to work on my math here. So 0.07%. Does that sound like much of a change to you? Do you see how they are hyping these statistics? Well, not hyping it. There's just outright fraud in these statistics. So to put that in perspective, all right, so how much of a change, how much of an improvement is that between a 0.53, if a 50-year-old woman over 10-year risk is not getting any mammograms, to a 0.46 over the same 10-year period if she is getting mammograms? How much does that actually save lives? Well, that amounts to 7 women out of 10,000. It saves 7 women out of 10,000. Now, let me ask you, if they actually used these statistics and put them in the proper perspective, do you think that very many people would actually donate money and have a run for the cause, run for the cure? It seems unlikely. 7 women out of 10,000. That is hardly significant. Not that those 7 women's lives aren't important, but we want something that's effective, and that's hardly effective. So these researchers go on, Woloshin and Schwartz. They explain that anywhere from 20 to 50% of women who do receive these mammograms due to the fear-mongering of Komen for the Cure for a decade of their lives will have at least one false alarm. Now, do you know that these false alarms often lead to women being treated with all kinds of horrible things? I mean, they can have a mastectomy. They're definitely probably going to have some kind of chemotherapy cocktail, which that is deadly stuff and causes so much harm long term. And these treatments are expensive. Expensive. So there are certain companies who definitely do quite well when these false alarms are found. Which goes on to lead me to find out where Komen for the Cure, this nonprofit charitable organization, actually gets some of their funding from. Wouldn't that be interesting? So, where they actually have received some of this funding is DuPont, GE, and AstraZeneca. Those are where they have received some of their funding, where they also have stock. They have stock in GE. Now, why? Why would they get funding from those large corporations and have stock in GE? Well, GE is one of the leading manufacturers for mammography equipment. DuPont is the leading supplier for chemicals associated with the film development of the mammograms. And AstraZeneca has many of the drugs used in these treatments. Do you get it, guys? So they create this fear. They get women to have this early detection system through mammograms that are known to promote the very thing that they are trying to detect, quote unquote. And they get money from these corporations who either treat these created diseases or from the manufacturers who create the equipment to, quote unquote, detect this disease. Now, being a charitable organization, a non-profit organization, let me repeat that, a non-profit organization, would you not think that the majority of their funds would actually be used for finding the cure? Well, that's what I would think. So their assets, the Susan G. Komen for the Cure, their assets total over $390 million. Now, you would think that a fairly significant majority of that $390 million would actually be used in finding a cure. But what is the case? Well, according to the 2009 to 2010 fiscal year, 20.9% of that $390 million was actually donated for research for the cure. 20.9%. So roughly, that's $80 million. So out of the $390 million, $80 million was actually used for research for the cure. Now, does that stat make any sense to you for a non-profit organization that is supposedly totally created for finding the cure? Does that make any sense to you that they would only use 20.9% of the funds that they receive? Now, the investigator into the funding and how the assets were used, her name is Emily Michelle. She went on to explain with her investigation, she says, "I don't know about you, but I would never expect directors of a charitable nonprofit organization to make more than most doctors, most lawyers, or even politicians." Well, what is she talking about? Well, she's talking about how much the CEO, the chief executive officer of the Susan G. Komen for the Cure organization, makes per year. How much do you think she makes? Well, I'll tell you. She made $531,924 plus $26,683 in bonuses. Now, you do realize that that is more than even the U.S. president makes. And this is a non-profit charitable organization. So, even though this information may make you angry, you should really consider it. If you want further information on the research, just take a look at this British Medical Journal article. Again, It was published by Stephen Wolishin and Lisa Schwartz. And you will even get more information than I had the time to cover here. So just be careful, guys, where you put your money and who you trust. So, are you ready to actually get back, or even for the first time, attain optimal health? You can do it. You can do it with nutrition response testing and a designed clinical health improvement program. The best way for you to learn how these things can help you is through one of our free health seminars that we hold twice a month in our clinic, the Natural Health Clinic, located at 3908 John Stockbauer, Suite C as in cat. And the next free health seminar we're going to be holding is going to be this coming Tuesday, August the 14th at 7 p.m. The title is How to Feel Good Again. Now, in that presentation, we're first of all going to go over the reasons why you feel the way you do, which is less than good, right? So why are you always feeling tired? Why do you lack the purpose and the motivation? Why is there just no zest for life anymore? Why are you gaining that roll around the middle and just don't have a sense of well-being any longer? So we're going to go over the reasons for that, what's actually happening on a biochemical basis and what's creating that biochemical or those biochemical processes. Then I will go through a clear step-by-step formula, a program that will help you to produce the result that you're looking for. Now, these principles, guys, it isn't just to feel good again. If you follow these principles, it will also help go a long way in helping your body to prevent many of the processes that may lead to future degenerative disease. And in the meantime, the result will be that it gives you fantastic energy, focused, razor-sharp thinking. Can you imagine that? And it will even slow the aging process in a way that the body is designed to do, not forced to do with different hormones that are being used and different new awesome nutrients that are always being found every other month. No, this is working with the body's own processes to slow that ever creeping up on us aging process. So again, the title of the seminar is How to Feel Good Again. It's going to be held this Tuesday, August the 14th at 7 p.m. You need to RSVP. Our conference room is small. We had standing room only at the last free health presentation, so you need to RSVP. You can do so by calling our front desk. Her name is Tanya. The number is 361-575-4683. 361-575-4683. Isn't it time, guys, to actually do something for your health? Because as I frequently say, if you are not actively doing something for your health, then you are losing it. Come to the next free health seminar. Find out how you can get on a health improvement program. Call now. Do it now. The number 361-575-4683. Well, that's it for this week, folks. Until next week, be careful, be smart, be healthy. Thanks for tuning in.